bringing of pain.
We got something to talk about buying trucks and hiring people this year, and we're like not cool.
I guess, yeah.
We meant to do it earlier, but our reports got pushed out.
Yep.
We're like X name
So
of the
I'm
spending.
I'm not talking about the wastewater job. That
No,
one's okay.
no, I'm
Yeah,
talking
it's
about-
it's the utility one.
Correct.
Yeah.
I am with you.
Okay.
I am with you,
Okay.
Kimosabe.
All right. So you'll wait till afterwards to shut me off, right?
Yes, and then over the side you can.
Okay, call this regular session to order. It is 7:09 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll open it up for visitor comments. Please state your name for the record.
Ken Forcier. I am here to bring the St. Helens Flying Eagle canoe to your attention this
Okay,
year.
yep.
This year is going to be a maintenance year for the Flying Eagle. It's going to get many coats of polyurethane, spar varnish, I'm sorry, and probably some touch-up paint. I've noticed that the trailer that it moves around on needs some wood repairs to make it safe, and probably some lighting work. And I would like to ask the council to allocate some funds to spruce up the Eagle this year and the trailer that it moves around on, and also to consider the possibility of doing the work in conjunction with the youth of the community, possibly on the waterfront. It could be like a week-long process. There's some drying, some curing involved, and I sort of envision the Eagle being brought down on its trailer on a daily basis in the morning, being worked on the waterfront where it's on public display with some volunteers helping. It's not rocket science. It's varnishing, and a lot of people could take part in that and feel as if they're taking part in in a big project, and it would also expose the canoe to a lot of the youth in the community. So it's an art project in its own right, so maybe this is something that would go through the Arts Commission. But I'd like to see maybe us consider having it on the waterfront down here for like from one 13 nights Thursday to another. Are they in succession this year?
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday. So maybe it could span 8 days and be on display for 2 of those early on in the season, like the first and second. And this whole process could take place as a community event, much like painting the garbage barrels or something of that nature happens, just as an exposure thing for the canoe this year.
I think that's wonderful.
Margaret, and could I ask a question here out of Arts and Culture?
Please.
Okay. So did the Arts and Cultural Commission ever put that canoe or obtain that canoe in their inventory as an art object? Did that happen? Because I know we talked about it years ago and never got a report back on if that really actually happened or how we oversee that or whatever. But it's one of these objects that just kind of scoots around as far as I know, and no one takes accountability for it.
It's an emissary for the community going out and
Right.
bringing attention to St. Helens and to the history of Lewis and Clark.
I can't say whether or not the canoe is on the inventory. I do know that the commission is working on an inventory for the purpose of creating a map to show where the art is around the city, but also to create an inventory so that they have a list of everything that they're responsible for maintaining.
Right, and then along with that conversation, we talked about with the riverfront development, a possibility of a plastic case of some sort, so it's on permanent display.
Not necessarily plastic,
Well, you know what I mean.
wood, glass, beautiful.
Glass. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're probably thinking of a cottage cheese wrapper when I said plastic. No. Vinyl, something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that will be coming front and center and discussed again later in the season here.
Councilor Martin, just so you know, when Wild Bill was here and last time spoke about that display case,
Willow
Bill.
Willow
Bill, sorry.
Wild Bill.
Sorry.
Well, yeah.
I'm new here. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, no, he is a little wild.
It is a little
He
wild.
is a little wild.
Duck and cover.
And he won't take
creative.
offense to that either.
I did chat with him out in the parking lot after that meeting, and he said he already had a company an idea of how much it would cost and what it would do. I did tell him to bring me something in writing with a quote or something so that I could bring it for a discussion, and I never heard back from him. So if he has that information,
That's still in process. We're looking for bids from local contractors to try and determine those costs. of the
yeah, I
increase.
told him to somehow get some kind of a price idea of what we're looking at and bring that to me. So
Yeah,
Bo-
if he ever
bottom,
gets that.
bottom line is, how much is the lacquer going to cost? We can take care of the trailer. We'll get that addressed. We'll get the wood planks and probably even look at the bearings in the trailer just to make sure Public Works can handle that for sure. I'm thinking we just leave it down there for a week. We don't reload it back up. I think we put it on some blocks and actually leave it
If
there
it's
for a week.
inside the fenced area, nobody
Yeah,
can
yep.
do anything.
Okay.
Nobody can take it away.
Counselor Locke, you
Where,
look.
where you been the last 15 years anyway?
Spar varnish brushes, thinners. I mean, I would think that spar varnish is not inexpensive, but I would think that $500 would cover drinks and whatever's required for people that are out there working on it. A tent, if necessary. Do you think over it?
Well, it depends on the weather.
Yeah, it
Well,
does depend on the weather.
there is sun also.
I
and
have
it's spar
a
varnish.
pop-up tent, which is about 10 by 10, which won't cover the whole canoe, but I do have a 10 by
Cover the
10
work area.
pop-up that you could
It would
borrow.
cover the work area.
Probably would want to get a couple of 10 by 10 tents to tie together over it. If those would be available, that would be great.
I have one for sure.
Okay.
Yep. Ken, you can look me up. You see me all the time. I just seen you at the waiting for your dog at the stop for you at the crosswalk
There you go.
yesterday. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Just be sure it's not spar varnish anymore. It's mineral oil that's put on it now.
Okay, mineral oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
I
So I was
think
thinking about $500. Sounds like it would probably cover all of the expenses associated with that project for a week.
Yep. Yep. We're gonna put it on heavy and thick and let it dry, and then put it on again. Right? That's coating and recoating. Right?
Premium sodas.
Yes. Okay.
Council need a head nod on that?
It's all good.
I'm good.
Yeah. You good, Topaz?
$250 for the varnish.
$250 for the varnish.
$750.
$390.
But yes, we'll get it. We'll pull it out of council funds when he needs that. Okay. All right. You're
Thank
taken
you.
care of. See Matt. Yep. Okay. Other visitor comments.
Howard Blumenthal. I'd also like to say, since you brought up the Flying Eagle, on how neat it is that the St. Helens has that boat and how we do need to keep it out there so that people can enjoy it, since it is such a beautiful piece of craftsmanship that made it, and just the history of, you know, what Lewis and Clark did with a boat like that. The other reason that I came and thought I'd spend a few moments to talk is I probably haven't talked to you guys about parks, and we have a bunch of events coming up over the next few weeks in some of our parks, and I thought I'd just give a quick refresher on that. Mainly this coming Saturday, we've got a work party at Nob Hill Nature Park. We're going to be meeting at the sewage treatment plant from 1 to 4 o'clock and working on the bank by the staircases, getting rid of blackberries, and we've got some more plants from the Watershed Council. And then on the 13th, Scappoose Bay has a big, huge native plant sale. But in the afternoon, we're having the Native Plant Society of Oregon is coming out to do a tour of Nob Hill Nature Park that they usually do once a year. And that's going to be from 1 to 3 o'clock, meeting at the sewage treatment plant. And If you ever want to know more about native plants, these are the people to ask about that. And actually, in the park right now, a lot of our fauna lilies are opened up. Our checkered lilies are starting to open, and we're having a really good trillium bloom of trillium in the park
Nice.
right now.
Nice.
You know, then on the 20th of the month, Patrick, I always forget, is Burkle?
Yep,
Berkeley.
Patrick
Berkeley. Well, he's doing a cleanup with Solve at Dalton Lake. So there's an event for Dalton Lake on the 20th.
That's early in the morning.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact time. but
9.
it's through Solve.
That's really all right.
Yeah. You know, and then on, on May the 18th, I believe, we're actually having a plant walk with the Native Plant Society at Dalton Lake this year, which is something we haven't done yet. So we've got a few
A
walks
lot of
with them.
options for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I thought I'd just bring that to your attention. I hadn't talked to you about it in a while. Or
Howard, thank you for serving on our boards, and thank you for doing what you do. Okay.
Okay.
And at Dalton Lake, people meet at the animal shelter at 9.
Correct.
Okay. Yep. All right. Okay. Other visitor comments? Okay. So we're going to go on to proclamations. And first proclamation I'm going to have on Autism Awareness Month and World Autism Awareness Day, Jenny.
April is Autism Awareness Month, and World Autism Awareness Day is April 2nd, 2019. Whereas autism is the fastest growing developmental disability in the United States, affecting more than 3 million people. And whereas the incidence of autism is an urgent public health crisis that demands support from all levels of government. And whereas autism is a result of a neurological disorder that affects the normal functioning of the human brain and can affect anyone regardless of age, race, ethnicity, gender, or socioeconomic background. And whereas the symptoms and characteristics of autism may present themselves in a variety of combinations that can result in significant lifelong impairment of an individual's ability to learn, develop healthy interactive behaviors, and understand verbal as well as nonverbal communication. And whereas the effort to address autism continues as doctors, therapists, educators help persons with autism overcome or adjust to its challenges by providing early and accurate diagnosis, appropriate education, intervention, and therapy, all of which are vital to the future growth and development. And whereas it is important to ensure that that persons living with autism have access to lifelong care and services needed to pursue their full measure and personal happiness and achieve their greatest potential. And whereas the City of St. Helens is honored to take part in the annual observance of Autism Awareness Month and World Autism Awareness Day in the hope that it will lead to a better understanding of the disorder.
Yep. And now, therefore, I, Rick Scholl, Mayor of the City of St. Helens, do hereby recognize April 2019 as Autism Awareness Month and April 2nd, 2019 as World Autism Awareness Day in our city. And I call this observance to the attention of our citizens. And then in witness wherefore, I unto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of St. Helens to be affixed as the St. Helens City Hall on this day of the 3rd of April, 2019. I guess that's what I do. So now we're going to go on to National Library Week.
National Library Week is April 7th through 13th, 2019. Whereas today's libraries are not just about books, but what they do for and with people. Whereas libraries of all types are at the heart of cities, towns, schools, and campuses. Whereas libraries have long served as trusted and treasured institutions where people of all backgrounds can be together and connect. Whereas libraries and librarians build strong communities through transformative services, programs, and expertise. Whereas libraries which promote the free exchange of information and ideas for all are cornerstones of democracy. Whereas libraries promote civic engagement by keeping people informed and aware of community events and issues. Whereas librarians and library workers partner with other civic organizations to make sure their community's needs are being met. Whereas libraries and librarians empower their communities to make informed decisions by providing free access to information. Whereas libraries are a resource for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status, by offering services and educational resources that transform lives and strengthen communities. Whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week.
Now therefore be it resolved that I, Rick Scholl, Mayor, proclaim National Library Week, April 7th through the 13th, 2019. I encourage all residents to visit the library this week and explore what's new at your library and engage in your library with your librarian. Because of you, libraries transform. Okay, so now we're going to go on to telecommunication or Safety Telecommunicators Week, Public Safety. That's going to be
Got it.
Chief Greenway.
And National Public Safety Telecommunications Week is April 14th to the 20th, 2019. And as we all know, the first line of defense in keeping our communities safe is when we call 911, and the men and women help us out. So whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Columbia 911 Communications District, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Columbia 911 Communication District have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year.
Now, therefore, I, Rick Scholl, Mayor of St. Helens, the City of St. Helens, do proclaim the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2019 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in St. Helens in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Okay, now we're going to go on to National Volunteer Week.
National Volunteer Week is April 7th through 13th, 2019. Whereas the entire community can inspire, equip, and mobilize people to take action that changes the world. And whereas volunteers can connect with local community service opportunities through hundreds of community service organizations, and whereas individuals and communities are at the center of social change, discovering their power to make a difference. And whereas during this week, all over the nation, service projects will be performed and volunteers recognized for their commitment to service. And whereas the giving of oneself in service to another empowers the giver and the recipient.
Absolutely.
And whereas experience teaches us that government by itself cannot solve all of our nation's social problems. And whereas our country's volunteer force of more than 63 million is a great treasure. And whereas volunteers are vital to our future as a caring and productive nation.
Okay, now therefore, I, Mayor Rick Scholl, do hereby proclaim April 7th through 13th, 2019, National Volunteer Week in St. Helens, and urge my fellow citizens to volunteer in their respective communities. By volunteering and recognizing those who serve, we can come together and make a difference. I'll tell you what, just from my own personal experience, every time I give of myself, I've never regretted it, and I've always got more than I expected just by giving freely. So it never seems to amaze me when I get out of myself and just do something because I can. So, all right. So, thank you all for reading that. I'm glad I didn't have to read them all because that would have been a lot of reading. So, resolution number 1841, a resolution of Common Council of the City of St. Helens establishing council goals for 2019.
Move we adopt resolution number 1841.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to adopt resolution 1841. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, resolution number 1842, a resolution to reaffirm the innate dignity of all people in the city of St. Helens. Excuse me.
Move we approve resolution 1842.
Second?
Okay.
I'd like to have it read. I'll read it if you want. If that's fine.
It's attached.
I know it's attached,
Yeah.
but our public would like to
Yeah,
hear
they
it.
hadn't seen it.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Resolution, yes, because this was updated at our work session earlier.
Talk
So,
about where this
yeah.
came from? Kind of?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the resolution 1842, a resolution to reaffirm the innate dignity of all people in the city of St. Helens. Councilor Morton, I will let you read this because you did
Perfect.
bring this to the table. Yep,
Thank you.
yes.
Whereas the residents of City of St. Helens live in a multicultural community of people from many places across the country and across the globe, and whereas the City Council and staff are committed to recognizing the dignity of all its residents and diverse contributions of both immigrants and native-born, and whereas the politics of division, isolation, and hate have no place in our community, as the City Council and staff of the City of St. Helens, we recognize that all people are deserving of assurance of the basic principles of equity and human rights guaranteed to all persons by our Constitution and Bill of Rights. Now, therefore, the City of St. Helens resolves that the City Council and staff and the City of St. Helens stand with our community in supporting the principles of fairness, dignity, and acceptance, and that these core principles commit us to promoting a peaceful discourse with all members of our community, and that we reject the politics of division and isolation that fan anger and hate against any person or group.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilor President Morton. Okay, so motion's been made and seconded to approve resolution number 1842. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, approve and authorize for signature. A, agreement with Alta Planning and Design, Inc. for 2019 Build Grant
I have
Assistant.
a problem with that, by the way, with that agreement.
Which one?
The agreement for alter planning and design.
Okay,
Two things, it's technical. One is no drop dead date. The other thing is that it says the description of the job to be done is an attachment. There's an attachment, but there's no signature on the attachment, so I could basically put any sheet of paper with the word attachment on it. I would like to make sure this attachment is officially attached to that.
I'll have
You
to
have a
look.
signature on the contract itself.
I can tell you here in just a minute too.
It's with regards to the timeline. This technical assistance is part of the 2019 cycle for the Build Grant, which is a federal grant that we were very close to receiving last year. This is an update of that grant. That once the notice of funding opportunity is announced by the federal government, there'll be a 90-day window to make those to have this work done and complete. So it's kind of self-driving. We had really good experience with them in the first round. I expect these updates to be equally as good.
I would just like the timeline to be explained, because right now as I read it, and not knowing that we have a timeline on the
Right.
grant application.
And-
That's my,
Yeah.
but the fact that we have no signature attachment.
Oh,
Okay, I have a problem with the contract for two reasons. One, there's no drop dead time. Well, I've just been informed that there is in the grant writing, it's not on the sheet of paper, that there has a limited time. And the other thing is the description of what the contract is to cover says it's, look at the attachment. And I have an exhibit that says attachment, but there's no signature. I could hand you any sheet of paper. And that's what I want to say.
What you
is-
have there is a combination of our boilerplate personal services agreement with Alta Planning and Design's template that's just included as an attachment.
Yeah, I would like to, the fact that it says attachment here and I have another sheet of paper, I'd like to know, have legally a signature on this so I know this really goes to that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying do not change it, just,
A signature isn't going to change that.
no, but it does legally say that's what it is. Right now, I could come up with anything.
technically, I mean, if we're getting really extremely technical, you're absolutely right.
And that's
Councilor
all I'm saying.
Topaz. So should we start doing Exhibit A, Exhibit B on every single document with a signature?
You're gonna have to unless it's in the body of the document.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and they usually are.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, I get what you're saying, Steve, but I just,
It's that lawyer pin in the you-know-what stuff that we have to deal with. That's,
okay, did John answer your question?
there wasn't, the answer was good, but I just needed it on here. I should say, I had no problem,
Okay.
but I just want to make sure those things are attached legally.
I'm just starting a reading of approved authorized signature, so I'm just trying to make sure that you're good.
Yeah.
Where we're going with, okay.
I do have a comment, though. I'm going to recuse myself from 6B and C.
6B and C, because community action, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, appreciate that. Okay, so, so I read A, so now, approve and authorize for signature. I'm just gonna start completely over. Agreement with Alta Planning and Design, Inc. for 2019 build, grant assistance. B, request for full reconveyance of CAT loan payoff, 525 South 10th Street, Hutchinson. C, request for full reconveyance, CAT loan payoff at 334 North 2nd, Richards. And D, contract payments.
I move that we authorize for signature and approve A through D as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve 6A through D as read. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor Locke recused himself just on them all. That doesn't really have to, I didn't hear him vote, so,
I did.
He did.
I said yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, recused from B and C, yeah.
yep. Yeah,
Probably didn't have to, but I just did.
yep.
Not taking any chances anymore.
Consent agenda for acceptance. It's about time you finally learn. Where have I been
only
in
takes
15 years?
18 years. It
Where
only
have I
takes
been in
18
15
years,
years?
that's all.
Cat
Did
board
nobody
is
say-
in Mexico.
You know what they, you know what they say about an old dog, you know.
All right. Consent agenda for acceptance. A, Arts and Cultural Commission minutes dated January 22nd and February 19th, 2019.
Move we approve consent agenda for acceptance. Items A.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to approve minutes or consent agenda A, 7A. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Consent agenda for approval. A, council work session, executive session, regular session minutes dated March 20th, 2019. B, council public forum minutes dated March 28th, 2019. C, OLCC licensing. D, wastewater treatment plant utility 2 job description. And E, accounts payable bill list.
Move we approve consent agenda for approval. Items A through E as read.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda A through E as read. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so, I mean, my reports, and you know, we have a lot of stuff going on in the city. We just do. We are looking at a rec program. We're looking at opening up some things that we're in the current talks with the county, because I want to make sure we're transparent on that too, as far as opening up our watershed for some ATV access in the near future. Not near future, I guess it's a ways away, but I just want to get the ball rolling on being transparent. And with the rec program, with the Sand Island, and most people are positive about it. There are those negative, and you know, we're just growing, and that's the bottom line. Is we have to bring back some things that we have lost. You know, I stated this in my work session earlier, but growing up as a kid, you could go down to Brownlows Beach to the whole river access was open, and now it's pretty much private, other than the port finally moved their parking and allowed people, for temporary, I'm sure, to park off the highway and actually have pretty good beach access down there at Trestle Beach. So, but we're trying to bring stuff back, and this is one way of doing it, you know. And I think always going to be a what if. I mean, there are those people who are pessimistic, and I continue to stay optimistic, and I think, I know we do as a council, stay optimistic and continue to push stuff forward. There's always a what if, and we can't always answer those questions. It's impossible to always answer them, and but I am encouraged by the direction that we are going, and with these 3 different projects. So that's all I got. So, Councilor President Morton.
Well, I was very encouraged tonight regarding our Sand Island issue. It's been some time. I've worked hard in dealing with the timelines and getting this accomplished. And what are we saving? The parks system and Public Works approximately $28,000 to $30,000 a year by not spending that money for our staff to go over, and this doesn't include the police as well. It's just our Parks and Public Works to clean up that island. Now we have somebody who has taken the initiative, and he's right there at the marina, very close to monitoring what's going on the island, and saving us from the get-go that much money for our parks. And that's one of the things that I appreciate from the get-go. There are so many positives that have come out from the testimonies tonight that I feel that are very pertinent to why we move forward with this. I did write down, however, some of the negative comments for people who opposed, and obviously we'll be working on those. And so that all of that is good testimony. One was the safety of the shuttle system. The other is, what do we do with the large yacht club groups and other kinds of groups that are coming down? How is Brad going to handle that? And then, of course, keep affordable. Keep the camping affordable, and free is very affordable, especially when it comes to shuttle and shuttling our citizens who've never visited Sand Island over there and back. And I think that's a tremendous service. It's our park, and I think that is extremely important to open up our park to our citizens. I think that's I think it's great. Other kinds of negative things were how he's going to collect fees. Well, he has, I know, 1 or 2 individuals already hired, and they're working on that. They're working on a computer system to keep track of people who come and go. Thus, the derelict boats and that kind of thing will have some kind of accountability to the agencies who want to know about that. Enforcement, Chief, I appreciate your input on the enforcement issues tonight. I think it's going to be tough, and when you enforce anything, and let me tell you, the enforcement that has been on Sand Island in the past 20 years has been pretty much non-existent. And now we have a person who is monitoring the island and can at least we can identify people who are constant agitators. To me, it just makes sense. It's such a good thing. I'm so excited about it.
I am too, Counselor, not to cut, but I was thinking the same thing. There's no enforcement or patrols over there right now, and this is just entering a partnership that we can work the details out, and this actually benefits the community as a whole to have somebody over there being our eyes.
I think so.
Thank you. So I'm not.
And along with that, and I think Cheryl, you have a boat down there, and I have a boat down there now. And in the past, my boat was pilfered twice, and that's what brought Brad to the council and many others to the council, saying, "What are you going to do with this problem? How are we going to deal with this?" And Brad says, maybe I can help fix that, because I can see over at Sand Island. And that's kind of where all this started about 4 years ago. And this is what it's nurtured into tonight. And hopefully this summer we'll see some good things with Sand Island. While I'm on parks, just got back from spending a little time in McCormick Park. And we at Veterans Plaza in McCormick Park still isn't finished, and we have a wall and to put in on the far side, along with names engraved on that wall, and some monuments as well, monuments that will look very similar to the memorial in Columbia City. So it's going to be, to me, it's going to be exciting to see that finished up. It's a long time coming as well, and those were from donations, and it was a good community effort. Andrew Nemi, again, who, if you were here earlier for the Sand Island presentation, Andrew Nemi has been a champion in facilitating his expertise into the design and the financial concerns about moving that Veterans Plaza forward. It feels very good to get that nearly completed, and everything's on timeline, so that we should be aboard this summer. That's it for Parks, Public Works, and Neil Shepard. Congratulations to you again for being all your service, and you're going to hear me say that until even when you're gone. So, and it's been a pleasure working with you and alongside you. You are amazing.
All right. Thank you, Councilor President Morton. Councilor Topaz.
Nothing to report, but I'm going to amplify something on Sand Island.
Oh, there you go.
Nothing to report officially, but amplifying something on Sand Island. During our work session, we had a presentation from the CC Ryder and trying to improve the number of trips between Portland and St. Helens. And I'm saying it that way because typically our CC Riders looked at as taking people from St. Helens to Portland. And with Sand Island, if we have people coming from Portland to St. Helens, we have another group of people who would have transportation both from Portland to St. Helens without using a parking spot, but transportation over to the island. And that brings customers in. And I think it's going to be helpful for a number of reasons, both for our businesses, restaurants, as well as the shuttle. So the Sand Island has a few extra goodies being added to the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Topaz. Councilor Carlson.
Couple things. Sorry, I missed the last meeting. I was very, very ill and didn't want to share it with anyone. But I wanted to pass along. I'm very excited. I am newly serving on the Chamber of Commerce Board,
Yeah.
and they had their banquet, and it was triple the size of the largest banquet they've ever had. I've been attending them for the last 12 years, and I've never seen both school districts there. I've never seen the nonprofits that were in attendance. I saw partnerships that I've never seen before. It was very encouraging to me. I talked to other people in the community that I see at Toy and Joy and stuff like that, and they're like, I don't know 60% of the people in this room, so I don't know where they came from. But it's just was a great testimony that there are people in our community that are ready to come to the table like never before, and I was just really encouraged by that positivity, and I just wanted to pass that along, that they're working hard and making new great things. And Youth Council this week met earlier this week, and the group that's been doing the St. Helens cleanup is not doing it this year, but the Youth Council has decided to take on planting the planters on the backside of the county courthouse that have always had the beautiful flowers in those big planters, and so we're going to be doing that the end of April and putting planters down there. So when people enjoy sitting down by the river, they'll have those beautiful planters this year, because Judy Thompson and Shedco's been doing that. This would have been year 8. So it's sad to see something go away. And so she came to our meeting and she was so excited that they were interested that she said, I'd love to help them put that together. And so they were so excited by her that they are going to be volunteering at her mental health fair the first week of April or first week of May. That's also going to be in our rec center building, providing mental wellness and doing a lot of community partnerships. So it's just, I think that, there was a lot of testimony about forgetting at-risk populations in our community. But what I'm seeing is I've seen a lot of nonprofits and a lot of groups come up to the plate and say, we're not forgetting and we are doing the work. And maybe it doesn't make the front page of the newspaper, but there are people doing a lot of really good work in this community to address homelessness and to address addiction and address child abuse. And they are doing a lot of great things. And it's just like sometimes the volunteerism doesn't make the headlines the way the scandal does, but there is a lot of people doing really great stuff. And I just appreciate all their hard work. Just back to the volunteerism. It's just you always get out more than what you put in when you volunteer.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
You think you're serving them, but they're really serving you. So that's all I have.
Jutney, would you let Judy know that I made a note to turn the water on back there for the
she believes that she has an agreement with the county to water 5 days a week.
We have to turn the water on to,
okay.
to the water line back there, and I made a note of that until you brought this up.
Back where? Where
the planters are behind the
back
courthouse.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a water
You
pipe.
said back there, and I thought, I've never gotten water back there. But it's just something that the kids will do it. The county's done it. My groups from Riverside really enjoy it. We serve a lot of people that are on the spectrum, and some of them enjoy watering the plants. Some of them just enjoy sitting down there and watching the boats while others water the plants. But I think that we underestimate the healing power of that river. It's just really great special asset we have. Whether you fish or whether you don't, everybody has a good day on the river.
You don't fish?
I eat fish.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, Councilor Locke.
Got a few things. First thing, I want to change hats, put my Kiwanis hat on, although I'm not a Kiwanis anymore, but I'm still involved in putting on the parade and fair parking and a few other projects. So we have a new deal this year about cleaning up after events.
Yep.
For events. So
we talked about like a little deposit for a street sweeper.
like a $500 deposit, yeah.
Yeah.
So because the parade's such a huge event, I told the guys I would ask that maybe Public Works could sweep the streets and we'll take care of the sidewalks. Does that work?
Yeah, I actually figured in that cost a street sweeper and then 2 people cleaning the sidewalks at the same time.
Wow. So we don't have to worry about anything?
Well, you're more than welcome to.
Good.
They,
That was-
they
that's-
keep the candy they find, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got that for also like other parades too as well, right? You just
Yeah.
turned it in? Perfect.
So you're paying that deposit?
Well, we can pay the deposit, yes, but
But that
I just wanted to know what we were responsible for. That's
So that deposit is refundable if you clean it up. It's not refundable if you're not going to clean it up.
right.
Okay, so you're not going to clean it up.
Well, that's what I was asking, though. I mean, what?
So if you're going to rely on us to clean it up, you don't get the deposit back.
It's a
That-
cleaning fee in
That's
that
the street
case.
sweeper and
Yeah.
2 guys.
That's what it pays for.
Clean the street or pay the money.
Right.
It's pretty simple.
I'll take that back to the committee then. See where they lie. Okay. Other than that, so last week I saw that we were, hiring a public works utility, and I was just wondering if that isn't something, since we're in influx here and they're going to be getting, I'm assuming, a new boss, that maybe we should wait for that until whoever we bring on, let them decide that, whatever, be part of that process. And then the other thing too was that there was a couple new pickups being bought or something. So I know we're in the process of this leasing arrangement now and whatnot. So I just want to know if we wanted to wait and see what happens with that also, instead of just buying 2 new pickups. So that's what I have.
Okay. Me and Councilor Morton have yet to get together, but we are on that, and we will talk to our Public Works and our administration, and we'll get it figured out.
And
Okay.
Budget Committee as well.
Yes, and
That's
Budget
one,
Committee.
that's.
Yes.
When is the first budget meeting? 15th of this month?
Tax day.
Oh, yay.
That's my birthday, man.
Oh, that's right. Pay up.
I have a special cake being ordered.
Okay.
Is that it, Keith?
Yeah. Oh my God.
That's hilarious. Does anybody know, is Tina still floating around? Did she take
I believe she's in the back talking with Andrew and Brad about
Okay,
an
well,
article for
we'll
Discover.
start with Chief Greenway then. Keith, I assume you were done, right?
Yes.
Start with Mike.
Oh, Michael.
Whatever you want to call him, but he's here to address, report to the council on what he's working on. So,
Come on up.
building official report, I
I thought he
suppose.
was just
Yes.
like meet and greet.
A building official report. I like it.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually has to do with our county partnership with the emergency management from the county.
Okay.
Can you hear?
Absolutely. Okay. So every 5 years, there is a document that's produced by the county emergency management, and it's a collection of several documents from all participating jurisdictions, which we are one. And so we are going through and updating this document, and it is a hazard mitigation plan that will be sent into FEMA. FEMA, once they approve it, allows in our community after an event that's needing federal assistance, allows additional funding to come in to help build back, not the same, but to build back ways that'll mitigate that hazard from occurring again. The example would be in a flood zone that the house would be, or the structures would be built back up above that floodplain. And so it was kind of shorter notice, but Sue and Dave Elder, our Public Works Supervisor, and myself have been meeting several times this week to make updates to this document. So we will have a draft for you and to be ready to be distributed by the 10th, which is next Wednesday. And then after that, we'll be having a public forum tentatively on the 17th, I believe, prior to allow for public input.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's a lot of statistical information about our community. And like I said, it just gets added in as an appendix to the overall document that the county produces for FEMA.
Sure.
So.
Very important, though, that it be updated. So,
Yeah.
yes. No, it's kind of one of those things that it's like probably a grind a little bit, but appreciate you doing that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, any questions about it, or?
Just 5 years seems so yesterday. Last time we updated that.
Yeah,
Like, was
I did speak with Sean Brown at the county, and on this next time around, because they did kind of get a later start on this one. This next time around, they will be getting started in 2020 actually. So next year they're going to start doing the document again for the next 5-year round. So, but we'll keep you posted on it as it keeps going. So that's all I
Appreciate
have.
it.
Thank you guys.
Yep. Okay. Tina Curry, gonna have you come on up. Can you
Tina
say your-
Curry.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go over some of the things that I have been concentrating on. One is that's going to be happening within the next month is the Salmon Derby. And you may have noticed our lovely salmon prop that is in the middle of the courthouse plaza. And when you press the button on the rock, it tells the story of the salmon in the river. And it also has a song that has to do with the history of the salmon and the dams. And it's been getting really positive reviews. And it was blessed by Neil and his team with the fantastic rustic local wooden stools that were made by the department, and they look great and people love them. So thank you very much to Neil and his team for that. And also I wanted to thank you for renewing the contract with E2C Productions. We're looking forward to a fantastic year. And I'm also working on the May Day celebration, which is in the works, as well as trying to put together a program for 4th of July to do the fundraising for that. And it's something that I'm working with the Chamber on, and we're excited to announce that program, and I'm going to leave that up to Simon because he's working hard for the Chamber to make those announcements. And also been doing the permits for 13 Nights on the River, which is going very well. And we've also done updates to discovercolumbiacounty.com. So now all of the different cities that are in Columbia County are rotating on the header, and they have links to all of their city sites. And I'm working with each of those cities to let them know that they can post any nonprofit events that the cities are doing on the site. And as well, any of their nonprofits within Columbia County can post on the site so that we can really help spread the word. We're starting the Wine and Art Walk in May, on the second Sunday of May. People will be able to walk First Street and look at pieces of art and sip wine, and there's no charge for people to do that. And the stores that are involved will have placards outside of the stores and balloons to let people know that they're participating. And I think we have about 10 people that are participating on First Street. So that's a big improvement, because when I first came here, there wasn't 10 businesses on First Street. Now we have more than 10. I also wanted to let you know that the interviews and hot topics and stories are also now on discovercolumbiacounty.com. And we are writing a story about camping on Sand Island right now, and that will be posted later tonight so that people can get the facts just as they are listed without any opinions involved in that. And I'm working with the marina on some agendas that they have as far as utilizing the island for public and community events, and having some fun things going on besides the 4th of July, which is now going to be on the island again this year. Do you have any?
Potentially could be on a barge.
Or barge, yeah.
Yes, potentially.
But kind of right
Yes,
there,
yeah.
right?
Yep, yep.
And John will be, I'm sure, ordering the fireworks for that soon.
Yeah, we're already talking with
Yeah.
Right, got your
Yeah.
ticket to Beijing.
And we'll be doing tailgating on the whole Boise property this year. And the chamber is talking about doing a little VIP area for people that want to pay a little bit extra more money that are closer up to City Hall.
Nice.
And bring out the capitalism to the to the community. I think that is it. I just wanted to also thank everybody who helps provide me with information and make tourism effective. And, you know, I know Neil is leaving, but it will be sad when he goes. And it's been, yeah, he always returns my calls so quickly. So it will be a sad day. But it's been fun working with him for sure. Yeah, we're looking forward to that big golf game. Does anyone have any questions?
I haven't listened to the story yet. I have to admit, I have not listened to the.
Oh, you
Santa
have
story.
to. It's really, yeah. You hit it twice, and then away it goes.
You hit it twice, and away it will go.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have
Yeah.
to do
And it's
that.
better at night because there's lights inside. So.
I had a real salmon out there.
I saw
yeah,
that.
so
Yeah.
you got pictures sent to you, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And we're working also on a report that we can send to Travel Oregon on what we've been accomplishing with our tourism
I think
dollars.
that's very, very important.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So.
Good
Okay.
work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Chief Greenway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple things to kind of dovetail on the Sand Island. I already got an appointment scheduled Monday with Sheriff Pixley. We're going to go tour the island on his boat, get that ball rolling. I've been texting here, getting that set up. In addition, I talked to Steve Pegram, who's the Columbia County Emergency Management Director, on break, and we discussed seeking UASI grants to possibly secure a boat and all the associated gear through federal grants. UASI stands for the Urban Area Security Initiative, and if for those of you not familiar with it, after 9/11, the federal government created a UASI for jurisdictions that could secure funding for more emergency equipment. Most of the jurisdictions across the United States bought those $500,000 mobile command centers that don't get used. Fortunately for Columbia County, in the last 5 years, nobody has used this grant, so it's a time to strike for us. He said that we would probably be able to secure some funding. He's optimistic. The challenge, it's not a challenge. We just have to go in with the sheriff's department and do this collaboratively. So the relationships we have. So I'll start the ball rolling on that, and that would be for the secure a vessel and all the associated gear and training that goes with it for the city of St. Helens. So we're not relying on other entities for our own needs. So I'll be able to update as that goes on. But that's a direction to start going, so we can have some solutions to this. So that's all I have. So thank you.
Sue.
I just wanted to make you guys aware I'm not going to be at the next council meeting. It's going to be Neil's last council meeting, so hopefully he will be here participating. And I guess the good thing about that is that you'll miss my tearful goodbye. So
Thanks, Sue. Neil.
I have nothing, but I'll be smiling.
I don't have
Margaret.
anything to add tonight.
Okay. Matt.
Just wanted to give the council a quick update that we're going to be meeting with McKinsey architecture firm in the next couple of weeks. Staff will for as a little kickoff meeting for the police station study that we're going to do, and we'll probably have some discussions coming up in the next couple work sessions about a roadmap of what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and some different possible sites to look at, and those kind of ideas. So if you want to just start brainstorming some ideas in your heads about questions and thoughts and ideas, that would be a good time to start thinking about those questions. And please let John or myself or Brian know those, so maybe ahead of time we can get answers to some of those questions that you may have. But there's be more information coming on that very soon. That's all I got.
All right. Kathy. Nothing.
Kathy, could I ask you about Neil's retirement reception?
Sure.
And the time and place so you could announce that? Because, I mean, he's affected so many people in the last 30 years that we need to drum that up a bit.
Sure. It's going to be May 2nd, and it'll be here in the council chambers at 1 o'clock, 1 to 3.
Perfect. Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay.
And he may or may not show. so.
Yes.
We can find him at Wildwood.
John?
I was wondering why he was going to be here the last meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna piggyback on the chamber banquet and the kind of the sense of awe with the crowd, and really the city did pretty well with the awards, and Mayor Scholl getting an award for Commerce Advocate of the Year, our own Shauna Duggan getting 2 awards, getting the recognized for the good work in the recreation program, and also as Woman of the Year, which is fantastic, well deserved. On other issues, the court seems to be in a place that is in a really good place right now. We've the court clerk position. Melanie Payne is going to be the new court clerk. She's really excited about that. I think it's a really good fit, and the team that they have right there right now, they're basically caught up with all their backlog. They're feeling really good about that. Relationships with the judge and the prosecutor and staff is just excellent. So, budget committee is coming up for the budget season. Labor negotiations, or we're going to have a kickoff meeting tomorrow for the AFSCME group in the morning with the legal counsel. On the to-do list, we talked today about the $2 fee for the docks, and that's something that's outside of the lease agreement. So I have my to-do list to talk about the fee for the use of the docks, and also the changing the stay rules, the length of stay, and the 72 hours in any 14-day period. I think is right now it's the 2 5 days and 30, and they can kind of piggyback the months together and create these stays. But other places we've seen that have been successful, this 72-hour rule seems to be pretty good. And,
It used to be that way here. That's what I recall, 3 days.
Yeah. I thought we changed it to abide by the marine rules.
So yeah, earlier they were talking about the Marine Board docks. Those are the Marine Board helped facilitate the funding of those docks, but they are the city's docks.
They are, yes, they do belong to the city, yes.
That's clear, and the rules are, the rules are the city's rules about how long they want the people to stay there. But,
If they're the city's docks, can we have businesses on those docks?
so they're the city's docks with the limitations of the funding source, and that's where the kind of the commercial activity rules come into play.
Because selling bait or something like that to these fishermen who want to feed these sea lions would be nice.
There is so many feet of commercial space, right?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a section that's for fishing and a
Right.
section that's for commercial space, and that's another conversation and on a separate path to buy back some of that capacity for commercial vessels to have more of our festivals and things of that nature if we want to do that in the future.
Did you have a comment, Susan?
Yeah, I have had some boaters that want to come for extended weekends that are concerned about, that have called me with concerns about limiting the time to a 3-day period or something like that. Because you're right, though, it's confusing with the 5 days and the 5 days and you have to combine the
even
time
with
at the 2
permit, we
docks.
could come up with except by permit, right?
Right.
Have another process to have people come stay longer.
Yeah, for a longer extended holiday weekend or something like that.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
And the earlier about the boat clubs having use of the docks or being able to reserve the docks, that's something we've done through the Maritime Festival is a good example of that, where we basically cleared the docks for the festival to come in and set up, and
Yep.
it's very doable. I don't see that as a big concern. That's it.
Okay. Any do-overs for anybody? Anybody in the crowd would like to address the council? I see a couple unfamiliar faces out there and a lot of familiar faces. Welcome. Yep. So, okay, we're adjourned.
You want to say this?